Today is the day to learn to meditate. I'm really excited about this. Uh, this is the technique we're going to use today is from a book called Open Focus Brain, and it's by Les Fehmi, Fehmi, and somebody else. And I meant to look it up, the second author, and I did not do that, so my apologies. Uh, But the whole idea that they lay out in the book is that uh, we learned to use logic in school, and we were really heavily reinforced with using logic, and that's a good thing. But it was at the expense of our intuition. So I'm going to start over because I was excited and I started a little too quickly, and I know some of you weren't quite with me. So today we're going to learn to meditate, and we're going to use a method that I'm going to change slightly, but it's a method from a book called Open Focus Brain by Les, L-E-S, Fehmi, Fehmi, and another author. And I meant to look him up and I forgot to look him up. I think his name is Brad something. Well, what they lay out in the book is that we all learned to use logic in school, and we were heavily reinforced for using logic. Now, logic is a great thing. If you've ever been around someone who isn't capable of being logical, you will know how valuable it is. If you've ever been around somebody in an emergency and you're trying to ask them things like, um, did you take any medications? Or try to have them link whatever is going on to something that happened recently for them, like that day, and they can't do the logic, they can't link things. You know how frustrating it is when someone isn't capable of being logical, or at least at times isn't capable. So logic is a good thing, but we were reinforced for logic at the expense of intuition, at the expense of our emotional lives, at the expense of lots of aspects of ourselves. So, what they talk about is that both logic and what they call a closed focus actually eliminated our intuition. So, closed focus is when you look at very small numbers and letters on a page, which is what we learned to do in school, right? Uh, and we block out everything. I remember in the spring as a kid dying to be outside, dying to go to my favorite haunts around the local creek, be in the woods. That's what I used to love to do. But instead, I had to stay in the classroom. And what we learned to do was to block out the creek and the woods, or for you, whatever it was that you would have preferred to be doing. And again, this is useful, but the emphasis was so much on this closed focus that we actually have, again, blocked out our ability to be intuitive. But more than that, if we don't relieve that closed focus state that many of us spend most of our day in, if not our evening as well, if we don't have relief for that state, we will gradually jack up our nervous system and develop sleep problems and anxiety. Wow. Did you know that? I didn't know that before I read that book. But once I read the book and I understood this concept, I saw it everywhere. So it's easy enough to relieve the tension that is created by prolonged closed focus. One way is to just look out the window from time to time and let your eyes rest. I used to be a technical writer, and I would spend 8 hours writing a technical manual. I wrote step-by-step directions for software and hardware programs, and my fingers would fly over the keys. But I think that over time, this took a toll on me, and I'm so glad now that I can relieve that closed focus state. And more about that in a minute. But one simple thing we can do both for our mind and our eyes is to look out the window from time to time or walk over to a window and focus on the furthest object you can find. This is a way of relieving some of the tension in the muscles of your eyes, because if you're maintaining this closed focus, looking at the screen for hours and hours, you may need to stretch your eyes the other direction by looking far away. So we're going to practice open focus, and we're going to use it again as a method to learn to meditate. So I'm going to lead you on a guided visualization now. So if you want to get comfortable, close the door, try to eliminate any distractions if possible. I know that some of you are probably home with kids, uh, so if you can, uh, thanks, Carol. If you can, try to eliminate some distractions. You even might want to have uh, dogs and cats not in the room, because they may distract you because they're very, very drawn to the meditative energy. Now, if they just calm down and lie down and chill out, that's not a problem, of course. I had a kitten who I meditated 20 minutes a day with her present, and that was fine. She was conditioned for me to meditate 20 minutes at a time. But then I increased my meditation to 30 and 40 minutes. This was back in the day. I don't meditate that long now, I'm afraid. But when I increased the time, she didn't understand, and she would try to get my attention. And her favorite way to try to get my attention, because it worked really well, was to try to bite through my earbud cords, or any cords that I had if I was listening to meditative music. Yeah, and if you want to put on meditative music, go ahead. So get comfortable, and you want to either be sitting in a comfortable position with your back straight, or you can lie down, as long as you're not the sort of person who will immediately fall asleep, because then you might miss what I'm trying to teach you. I want you to take a couple of deep breaths and call light to yourself. And you'll feel it come. Light agreed to accompany us on this sometimes dark planet. Breathe in the light, and your lungs will fill with light, and your lungs will make that light available to every cell in your body. This is the light of enlightenment. This is the light that is often pictured around the heads of saints and angels. Light comes when we call it to ourselves, and we can also send light. So playing with light is a great way to begin your meditation. It's also a great way to relieve fears, worries, any concern about what might be going on in your life or in your world. Now, I hope by now you've got your eyes closed, but if not, close your eyes and try to recreate the room you are in with your imagination, keeping your eyes closed. So become aware in your mind of any furniture, of the walls, the floor, the ceiling. This is all positive space. That is space that is taken up by something. Now I want you to track what it feels like. The next direction I give you, I want you to notice what it feels like in your temples, in your forehead, around your eyes. So now focus on what is called the negative space, the empty space in the room. And follow that empty space out through any windows or doors, following the empty space out into the noonday sky. Notice what that feels like in your jaw, your scalp, and again, your eyes, your temples. Follow out on that negative space, the air around you, going out into the sky. Maybe all the way up to the tops of the tallest buildings. Maybe up to the tops of the tallest trees. Or all the way out to the edge of the atmosphere. And notice where you feel most comfortable. If your field, that bubble of light that is all around you, and this bubble of light expands when you send your awareness out. If this bubble of light expands a little too much, notice that. If you keep wanting to expand it more, notice that. And expand your light to the level that feels best for you. Whether it's just out to the tops of the tallest trees or all the way out in space. And if you like, if you're enjoying the expansion, you can expand your field, that bubble of light, all the way out to the edge of the cosmos. And imagine that you have given yourself room to breathe, room to be yourself, to be relaxed, to feel safe. Good. And imagine that your consciousness is somehow dispersed throughout your field. Imagine that right now you are experiencing yourself as energy. As energetic beings, we can be huge. We can be spacious. Now, I mentioned yesterday that we need to become aware of what we are experiencing, and even further, how we are experiencing what we are experiencing. Are you having a visual experience now? Is there an auditory experience? Maybe you can hear the deep silence of space, even the deep silence of the air just outside your home. Even if you hear other sounds, like an airplane, for instance, or automobile traffic, you might notice that there is a deeper silence beyond those sounds. What about a taste or a smell in this experience? And if you don't get either of those, that makes sense. What about any feeling or knowing? What's it like to know yourself as energy? To be relaxed, expanded, spacious. You might even have a feeling as if this state is your true nature. Notice your breathing. And imagine that out here, in this expanded, relaxed state, imagine that you can receive insights. Maybe they will be conscious insights. Maybe you will feel, sense, know an idea. Maybe you're just becoming impressionable, allowing insights to kind of link to you here in this state so that they can appear later. What is it like to drift? What is your breathing like? Has it slowed? Has it deepened? Imagine that you have opened your focus, you have opened your consciousness, and your awareness is expanded. Maybe you can still feel that in your temples, in your scalp. Good. And now, leaving your light expanded, begin bringing your focus back. Remember, we opened our focus tremendously. Now imagine that you can bring your focus back, gradually back and back. So if you went all the way out to the edge of the cosmos, bring your focus back to our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. Bring your focus back to our solar system. back to planet Earth. And if you are in the northern hemisphere, back to the northern hemisphere, back to your continent, back to your state or province or territory, back to your town, your neighborhood, your home, or wherever you are at the moment. And then fully inhabit your body from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Draw up on the perineum, or if the term pelvic floor works better for you, draw up on the pelvic floor, in on the low belly, and it will help to ground you and center you. And then take a couple of deep breaths, return to the room or wherever you are. Open your eyes, feeling relaxed, refreshed, and ready to go on with your day. So let me know in the comments what that was like for you, and if you had a visual experience, an auditory experience, perhaps of the deep silence, any kind of a knowing, a feeling of spaciousness or relaxation, some kind of a sense of yourself as expanded. Let me know if you felt anything in your temples when we opened our focus. Anybody have any comments right now to let me know what that was like for you? Oh, good. Thank you, Jan. And Jan, can you let me know if you had any of the inner senses? Did you see anything, feel, hear, sense, know, smell, taste, anything in your relaxed state? And if anybody felt like they experienced nothing, I want you to pause and be amazed by that. Because in our overstimulated lives, to stop and experience nothing is a pretty big deal. I once had a client who was an executive, and he came in pretty wound up, very tense, and I led a guided visualization for him. And hey, thank you, Carol. He said, "Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it, Peg. Good, Sarah, about feeling inner knowing and feeling expanded. Allison, edge of the cosmos, refreshing. I did see something. Oh, Jan, how cool. Good, good. The awakening of the inner visual sense is really going to be relatively easy because we have such a stimulated visual world. Our visual cortex, I don't know for sure, but is probably far more developed, thank you, Susan, than our visual cortex is probably far more developed than our ancestors would have been. We don't realize the skill that is involved in perceiving a flat screen as a three-dimensional world. That's actually a skill that we've been conditioned to do. Oh, good, Debbie, thank you. Oh, good, Carrie. That's, I'm going to have a bias with you guys regarding visual experiences because again, those are really likely experiences for modern humans because we have developed our visual acuity to such an extremely powerful level. You know, if you were out doing hunting and gathering, you might not be able to have a level of visual acuity and understanding of the world that's just right around you. You know, you might have either been right in the dirt digging for roots, or looking for berries, or scanning the horizon for a herd of deer. Um, oh, good, Sarah. Sarah says that it is my sense that more information or messages will come later. Yeah, it's like I have to plug in my phone so that it gets recharged so that I can use it the next day. I kind of think of meditation that way, that we have to sort of plug in. Um, And Peg, that's so cool about the upper portion of the top of your head. Yeah, when we open our focus, we're going to uh, feel it in our heads. We're going to feel it again around the temples, the eyes, the scalp. You might even feel a little bit of a tingling sense up here at the top of the head. This open focus skill is really going to serve you well. Uh, I also want you to notice whether you liked being close in, maybe just beyond the roof of your house, maybe just to the tops of the tallest trees, or if you liked, as, let's see, who said it? Allison, you were at the edge of the cosmos. What I have noticed over the years is that there are generally two types of people. The ones who want to be out at the edge of the cosmos, they are way out there. And the ones who want to be just a little bit beyond the room that they're in. There isn't anything better or worse about either one. And as you develop more practice, you're going to find that certain days you might want to be all the way at the edge of the cosmos, and other days you might want to just be present in your body with a little bit of an expanded field. Um, yeah, I like that, Carol. Thank you. About meditating is like cleaning the plate before you put something new on. That's a great way to look at it. So, anybody else feel like, oh, and Debbie, you said I felt like no gravity. That's wonderful. And that is going to be a kinesthetic sense. So the inner kinesthetic sense, literally what you feel with your physical body, except you've expanded your physical body so that you almost are physically identifying with your energy body. So I love that you felt no gravity. Um, so I asked you yesterday to notice anything about your inner senses. I want you to continue to do that, and please practice this meditation on your own. I'll just go over it really quickly. The way that you can experience um, the difference between the closed focus and the open focus is to first close your eyes and try to recreate your room in your mind, and then identify with the air in the room. Follow the air out through the windows and doors, out just beyond the room that you are in, or again, all the way out to the cosmos. And when you do this, you're going to be able to notice the contrast in the feeling state over time between the closed focus, the way that feels, and the open focus. Well, after a while, you won't need to. I don't want you picturing the room in your head every time. That sounds kind of boring and not worthwhile. I just was using it so that you could begin to notice the difference. And once you've got the difference and you can feel an open focus, then you don't have to go through all that. You just open your focus. So yesterday I talked about the duh gene, and some of you said, I think it was Alyssa, that you, no, Alicia, that you said that you have the duh gene. I think the duh gene is really, really useful, uh, where you can just kind of stare into space and relax. So you can try that also. All right, well, I'm back tomorrow. We're doing more extremely fun things, in my opinion, because I love this stuff. Let me see what we're working on tomorrow. Uh, we're going to be talking about social conditioning tomorrow. So that is huge, I have to say. The social conditioning is really what keeps us in our box that we were designed for, inadvertently designed for. So I hope you'll join me tomorrow, either live at noon Mountain Time or later via recording. Remember, Friday's the big party, so we're going to be meeting on Zoom. I'm going to set that up, and I'll put the Zoom link in the Facebook group comments. Thank you, Jan. I'll put the Facebook link in there for you to use on Friday. And thank you again, you guys, for joining me. This is so exciting and fun. Have a wonderful day, and I hope that your little meditative time will make your day more spacious. Thank you, Carrie. Bye-bye.